Dino's Workshop.
Hey up. Right, bit of a job that somebody wants me to do for them. Basically they give me these two bench ends, wrought iron bench ends. They want them painting up black, but then the wood replacing on them, which had gone rotten. So what I'm going to use is this stuff. I don't know if you saw the little bench I did, but I'm going to use some of that type wood again, which is this. It's made out of like a hardwood, but it's kind of laminated together. Now it's about 70mm across, this is. Now I've worked out I've just got enough to do this bench. So anyway, I'm going to use that wood, and then he wants a bit of an inscription putting on it as well, like a couple of names. So I'm going to try and do that for him. So and then there's a couple of support bars underneath that want sort of cleaning up and or replacing and making better. So let's see how we go with it. Started off by cutting all the pieces of wood. I think they were 1600mm long, if I remember right. And then after I drilled all the holes in, starting with the pilot and then building up to about 8mm. That's all the bits of wood cut. I've drilled I think it's an 8.5mm hole in the end, and I'm going to put 8mm pins in them. So all cut to length, just got to be cleaned up, and then sort the sides of the bench out. I started off using a wire brush, and then any areas that were kind of a bit heavy with rust, which to be fair, these weren't too bad, but anything that was a bit heavy, I got me drill on it with like a sanding pad on. I then started giving a coat of this black paint. It's just some painters I've got knocking around. I had off a guy one time, and it seems to coat pretty well. One coat and it's done and dusted. I've cut two pieces of MDF here with the intention I'm going to cut basically like a slot out of it, and that then is going to become a template. I need two different sizes. It'll all become apparent as I carry on doing it, but these are for kind of make nameplates, and what I want to do is route a recess in the slats of the bench. So anyway, let me cut these out. So that's the two templates cut. Now I've got to do the nameplates. These plates are cut out of some old oak floorboardings that I've got knocking round. I slice it up the middle first, make it thin, about 6mm thick, and then use that. Then using my farm router, I routed out using those templates that I've pre-made. I cut a recess in one of the slats of wood for these nameplates to sit in. I cut it about 6.5mm deep, so they was kind of the plates were kind of sitting just below the surface. And then the idea was I was going to just run those through my planer thicknesser, and just kind of level them up to the surface, if you like. I then glued the nameplates into the recesses I've cut, and they fit quite well. There was probably about 0.5mm to 1mm of play, I'd say, at most. They weren't too bad. They could have been a little bit better, but they weren't too bad. At this point here, while I'm fitting these nameplates, I've done a bit of a dry fit, making sure all the wooden slats fit. And there was one or two I had to make the holes slightly bigger to give them a bit of wiggle room, if you like. Now I started giving it a coat of varnish. It's an outdoor varnish, so hopefully it'll stand the test of time with the weather. But it had a couple of coats of this, and then I started putting it all together. While fitting it together, I did notice that some of the gaps weren't quite right. Anyway, I'd made some of the holes in the wood a little bit bigger, which helped, but I still didn't get them perfect. I think what it was is the holes in the metal, the wrought iron sides, they weren't equal if you like, so I had to make do. I fitted a couple of support bars underneath, and then that's it. It's now finished. This is it, all finished. Hopefully the customer likes it, and it's, like I say, it's breathed a little bit of life back into an old bench.